Hi everyone, it's Simply Nima, and I just wanted to begin this video by saying thank you so much for downloading the recipe and purchasing this video. I truly wish I can thank every single one of you in person. Lastly, I hope you find this recipe easy to follow and I hope you enjoy the final product. So with that being said, let's begin. So the first thing you want to do before beginning is read the recipe at least once. Familiarize yourself with the steps. This helps to save time. Another thing that helps to save time is setting out everything that you need. This also prevents you from finding out after you've already started that you are missing some ingredients. So the way this video will go is that I will not be repeating what the recipe already states. So that means you should already have the full recipe near you and you can follow along as I demonstrate each step. I will, however, be giving tips and a few details that were not included in the recipe. Now, what I'm showing you here is a close-up of what your dough should look like after mixing all of your ingredients. At this point, it is a shaggy mass. It has no shape or form and zero elasticity. And after you let this rest, you will see a huge difference in the consistency of the dough. Allowing the dough to rest without manipulating it enables the gluten to do its own work of transforming the shaggy mass into an elastic dough. This step is important because a strong gluten structure is what gives the dough its ability to hold on to the gas, also known as CO2 or carbon dioxide, that is produced by the yeast during the fermentation. Now, as you'll see in the recipe, I do state to place your dough in a warm area to rise. What I like to do is turn my oven on to 400 degrees for only 1 minute, and then I turn it off. So please set your timer so you don't forget. You only want it warm. You're not trying to cook the dough. But if you are going to use this technique, check the dough after about 50 minutes. If you are just setting the dough on your counter to rise, it could take up, depending on the temperature in your kitchen, it could take up to an hour and a half or maybe even 2 hours. I know I've put it in the oven before and during the winter time, and it cooled off the oven faster than it would in the summer, and so I still had to wait an hour and a half for the dough to rise. So just check your dough regularly during this process. So now what I'm showing you here is how to check your dough. So you want to take a greased or wet finger, poke your dough, and it should, if you look closely, you'll see that it rolls a little bit slightly. There should be an indentation, but the indentation should still bounce back just a little bit. And that's how you know your dough is ready to go on to the next step. In your recipe, this is step 11. And here I am just showing you a way to roll your dough into the shape of a log. You can use this during the final shaping before placing the dough into the pan. So this is one technique you can use to form your dough into the loaf shape. So now on to shaping the rolls. What you're basically doing is first you're going to take each edge of the roll and fold it onto itself. Then you will cup your hand in a C shape, and you're basically kind of like rolling and pushing the dough into that shape. And what that does is to close the seam that's at the bottom, and it also helps to tighten and form a skin that helps to keep the roll in that shape without spreading out flat or looking all weird. So here I'm not really showing you how to shape the rolls because you do it the exact same way I had showed you before when we was doing the pre-shaping. Now, the first way I'm showing you is exactly what I stated in the recipe. You roll it over and you press it down gently with the palm of your hand. Now what I'm showing you here is a different variation of the palming method, and you're just pushing the dough back onto itself with your thumb. So you're just rolling and pushing, rolling and pushing. You're not pushing so hard to where you start to tear the dough. It's just enough to where you just want it to tighten it just a little bit to kind of get the air pockets out, and so you have a nice tight crumb texture so you won't have these giant holes in your bread. Now, I hate that this happened, but I'm also thankful that it happened. But please set your oven to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, not 200 degrees Fahrenheit as it states in the recipe. That was a mistake, and I literally just found out that my oven temperature, when I set it to 200 on my oven, it's not 200, it's actually 250. Because I ended up buying an oven thermometer, because when I set it to 200 and tried to bake bread at my mother's house, that did not work. The bread basically did not cook because the internal temperature did not get high enough. So, fortunately, unfortunately, that was my mistake, and I sincerely apologize. So please, please, please set your oven to 250 degrees. Now, as I stated in the previous scene when I was letting the dough do the final rise, I did get distracted and let it rise too long, and this is the result. It will end up dipping a little bit. It's not aesthetically pleasing, but it is still a very good loaf, and it was very tasty, if I'm gonna do say so myself. However, when this does happen, as you can see, the bread is still really soft, and it's still a good loaf. So I hope your loaf turned out perfectly and you were paying attention. And please be sure to hit me up on Instagram and let me know what you think about the bread recipe. And thank you so much for downloading the recipe again and purchasing this video. I hope to see you in the next one.